The night air over Jerusalem tasted of smoke and fear far beyond the city walls. An army like a dark ocean had parked itself across the hills and valleys, a living blackout of tents and banners, stretching as far as the eye could track. The narrator's voice moves from whisper to thunder. This is not a tale of clever generals or heroic cavalry. This is the story of one angel facing 185,000 men. It begins with a siege so total it swallowed hope. The Assyrian host was vast, a machine of war, disciplined and savage, their spears and standards glittering under moonlight like a forest of steel. The narrator paints the scene. An arrogant general surveys the trembling city lights and laughs, the soldiers around him chanting promises to burn Jerusalem by dawn. Inside Jerusalem, the contrast is sharp. King Hezekiah has no troops left to send. The city's gates are intact, but its hopes are nearly spent. The narrator traces Hezekiah's figure, clad in sackcloth, bent at the temple floor, every line of his posture a confession of dependence. Night spreads deeper. The story's tension tightens. The narrator describes a sky that seems at first indifferent to human calculation, clouds moving like slow thieves. Then abruptly, the air changes, not with the rattle of thousands of feet, but with a hush that arrests sound itself. From that hush descends a figure unlike the mythic cherubim of gentle paintings. This is a warrior, immense and austere, a silhouette wreathed in a blue-white luminescence. The narrator insists on the singularity. God did not provide a legion, a thunderhead of angels to mirror the enemy's numbers. The angel walks. The narration slows, each syllable deliberate. He moves through the camp without drum or trump, no clash of arms, no banners torn in desperate battles. As he passes, fires dim to blue and then to nothing, flames surrendering to a colder supernatural calm. Tents sag with the cessation of breath. Spears stand in mute salute. The soldiers, so recently loud and violent, are immobilized in a tableau of final sleep. The narrator insists on the uncanny detail. There is no carnage, no scattered gore, only stillness, as if a winter had fallen on the field in the middle of summer. The mechanism of victory is described as simple and terrifying. The angel does not raise a blade. He exhales. The breath of God moves like a mist across ranks that had counted on momentum and massacre. Breath in this narration is both literal and metaphorical. It is the divine word given form, a command that dissolves the engine of war without the spectacle of slaughter. By morning, the camp is a museum of armor and weapons, emptied of the hands that once wielded them. The narrator lets the stillness echo. 185,000 men gone. Absolute silence replaces the clamor of conquest. The aftermath is not triumphalism, but a sober, almost haunting reverence. Jerusalem wakes not to plunder, but to a fragile, miraculous peace. The angel stands upon the city wall and watches, his figure a sentinel that refuses to be domesticated by human language. The narrator reframes the event. This single intervention rewrites the calculus of survival, showing that defense can be an act of faith as much as force. The story folds into the personal. If one angel can overturn an army of overwhelming odds, then the narrator suggests providence is attentive to the scaled-down battles of everyday life. This is not an argument that problems vanish without cost, nor that divine intervention is predictable. The narrative resists simplification. Instead, it offers a resonant image, an almost ineffable power, choosing a precise moment and a single instrument to act. The scene insists on humility as the proper stance. Hezekiah's prayer precedes deliverance, quiet before the miracle. The triumph is theological and narrative. It reorients how strength might be imagined, privileging intentionality over accumulation. The final image is cinematic. Dawn gilding the city, the angel a silhouette against light, and the empty enemy camp stretching into the valley like a bad dream unraveling. Overlaid in tone is an invitation. If such sovereignty can protect a city with one angel's breath, perhaps the same scope of care extends to individual lives. The narrator closes not with a sermon, but with resonance, encouraging belief as an active posture. Subscribe if the story moved you, not to a channel, but to a principle, that sometimes the deadliest warrior is not an army, but a single divine presence, decisive and mysteriously merciful. Subscribe for more.